Welcome to New Light Living Podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and a galactic astrologer. This video is a galactic astrology reading for the full moon in Pisces at 7 degrees and 25 minutes on August 30th and 31st for some. What I do in these videos, I put an outer layer of galactic points, fixed stars, and celestial bodies on the outside of the traditional astrology wheel to help us connect even more with our multidimensional perspective. Our multidimensional self has a heritage in the galactic as well, in our cosmos. And I'm excited to share this reading with you because it provides a wider, bigger perspective outside our own Milky Way galaxy. So stay with me for this reading of the full moon in Pisces. Are you curious about your own galactic alignments? Download my Galactic Alignments reference guide below this video. In this video, I'll share 3 key themes that I see are key for this full moon in Pisces from a galactic perspective. So let's check out the chart for the full moon in Pisces. So here we have the chart for the full moon in Pisces. And before we go into this reading, I'd like to show you what I see in this full moon. It's a vortex of integration of body, mind, spirit activity. And it's so powerful and it's spinning. And I'll walk you through how I see this vortex happening at this time. Isn't it beautiful? So here you can see the moon at the top of the chart in Pisces, 7 degrees, aligned with the fixed star Deneb Adige in the Cygnus constellation. Cygnus is the swan. Next to the moon is Saturn, aligned with the Royal Star Fomalhaut, again, angelic, supportive energy. And opposite this pair is the sun, conjunct the fixed star Thuban in the Draco constellation. This is a call, and in the first decan here at 7 degrees, it has to do with our physical world, integrating in our spirit and earth, basically. If you look at where the sun is, it's Draco is often associated with warrior-like energy, often also defensive, but also with strong determination. So the sun is really highlighting here our tendency to still be attached to ways of defending ourselves. So the sun wants to highlight that, while the moon and Saturn really are inviting us to come to union between the spirit world and the earthly in Virgo. Spirit is Pisces and Virgo is the earthly. So this full moon is an invitation to integrate this balance in our lives at this time. Supporting energies to this full moon is the trine to Shapley Attractor at 2 degrees of Scorpio. And on the opposite side, the trine to Sirius B. And these supportive energies are the Shapley Attractor, which is the biggest driver of the universe, driving hundreds and thousands of galaxies directly involved in this full moon with supportive energy. And also Sirius B, which is often associated with spiritual mastery. So both of these energies are supporting this full moon to help this integration between spirit, Pisces, and earth, Virgo. Neptune is the ruler of this full moon. And here you can see Neptune is receiving a trine from the fixed star Beta Centauri. And also Canis Minor-Procyon is also a trine alignment to Neptune. And what that tells me, how I interpret that, is unconditional love, Beta Centauri, and spiritual technology, high technology used for the right reason, Procyon, is heavily supporting and helping Neptune to lead the spiritual evolution in our own Milky Way galaxy here. Neptune is also in a square with the Orion Nebula, and in a square with the galactic center. This is also pointing to the need for us to move away from polarity, Orion, which often is associated with the Orion energy. And the galactic center involvement here is the collaboration that Neptune has, leading our spiritual evolution in the Milky Way galaxy. And the galactic center is our Milky Way black hole that drives our energy and our wisdom here in the Milky Way. Canis Minor-Procyon is associated with spiritual technology, and think about it as in Cancer here as intuitive spiritual mastery, like telepathy, for example. At this full moon, we have 7 planets in retrograde, including Uranus and Mercury now as well. What this means is that we're invited to a lot of introspection and refining at this point. But also new chapters are starting, and rewards can be accelerated. Remember that vortex, and we'll getting into how I see that in a second here. This full moon is really a release of that vortex, the integration of body, mind, and spirit. And next, I'll go through the 3 themes with you: body, mind, and spirit. So here we have the first theme, and I call it the body theme. We're focusing on Sedna's alignment to the Pleiades and the fixed star Alcyone, and the trine that is making to Pluto at 28 degrees of Capricorn. And now to Mars, we have another trine there. Mars is at 2 degrees of Libra, conjunct almost exactly the supergalactic center. And this is also signifying the body theme here in the first decan. Pluto, who is aligning universal wisdom through the supergalactic center and driving that towards Sedna, who is bringing in, and Pleiades, who are part of guiding us here in the Milky Way and the transition, the vortex. It's driving a lot of our evolution. And I want to show you here, because a lot of the black holes, the various drivers of the universe is involved in this vortex at this full moon. So I want to show you just real quick here. So here we have an image that may help you kind of relate a little bit more to these galactic points. We have the galactic center at GC here in the Milky Way, who's driving our own solar system and galaxy here. And then beyond that, we have the supergalactic center at 2 degrees of Libra, which is the step up, so to say, driving about 40 to 60 galaxies. And beyond that is the great attractor at 14 degrees of Sagittarius, driving hundreds and thousands of galaxies. And the biggest driver of them all, known to this day, is the Shapley attractor at 2 degrees of Scorpio. And that's just, it's hard to get our head around how large that energy mass is. But I wanted to show you just to get a sense of magnitude. So going back to this grand trine, the way I translate this energy that's flowing between Sedna, Pluto, and Mars, linked to and aligned with supergalactic center now, is there is a need for relationship unions to come together. Supergalactic center at 2 degrees of Libra is associated with the 7th house, relationships, and Pluto transforming that. Sedna bringing in the new earth energy with the guidance from the Pleiades and our guides there. So hugely contributing to this vortex. So let's look at the second theme that's contributing to this vortex next. So here we have the second theme, which is in the second decan of the mental domain, and it's in fire. So we start with Chiron's alignment to the Cetus constellation and the fixed star TauCeti. TauCeti, similar to Thuban in Draco constellation, is associated with warrior-like energy. But TauCeti is also associated with the wound type of energy as well. And here in Eris is all about the self and becoming aware about what our wounds are, what is our shadow side, and really become aware of it. And Chiron is here to highlight that at 19 degrees of Aries now. Chiron is in trine with the Great Attractor. And if you remember, the Great Attractor is one of the largest universal drivers, driving hundreds and thousands of galaxies around. And the trine from the Great Attractor to Venus is highlighting now at 12 degrees of Leo is the encouragement we have to know our wounds, bring them up to the surface, allow the wound to be visible, because Venus is there to embrace it with the heart in Leo so that we can stay strong, having courage. And this fire trine is one of the encouragement of actually move from our mental domain, which is the second decan where these alignments are happening in the mental domain, down to the heart. So Venus has a key role in the transformation of this energy in this vortex at this time. So here we have the second part to the second theme of the mental domain. And we start with Jupiter at 15 degrees of Taurus, aligned with Andromeda Almach at 14 degrees of Taurus. And Andromeda Almach is associated with the energy of soft, unconditional love, very forgiving. And the trine here to Lyra Vega at 14 degrees of Capricorn, Lyra Vega is associated with energy around highly advanced spiritual mastery, as well as Sirius was. But Lyra Vega is this energy of connection to the earth as well. So the trine here between Andromeda and Lyra is a beautiful flow of encouragement and allowing the mind to relax, allowing the mind to ground, basically. Now, Mercury's alignment here at 19 degrees of Virgo is allowing us to speak up, speak truth. And this is really what this grand Earth trine is encouraging us to do. Whatever our mind is coming up with, we need to ask ourselves how true it is. Am I grounded in this belief? And this is how this grand Earth trine is contributing to the spiral of vortex that we have at this full moon. The third theme here is the spirit theme. And we start here with looking at Eris, the asteroid Eris, which is the unbridled feminine energy, not taking no for an answer type of energy. Eris is conjunct the North Node, and Eris is really here to be part of the direction we're going in. There is no taking no for an answer anymore. So in Eris, it really is about our own self-empowerment. And the trine here to galactic center at 27 degrees of Sagittarius tells us that this is Milky Way business. This is our local solar system, our local galaxy here that has to walk in this direction. And Lilith is at 26 degrees of Leo. Now, Lilith is conjunct Hydra Alphard, and we've talked a lot about Hydra in our past videos. Hydra is that Kundalini energy. The fixed star Alphard is the heart of the serpent. Black Moon Lilith aligned with Hydra Alphard, connecting with Eris and the galactic center. Wow, that's talk about a spin, going for a spin, right? And this is a huge fire contribution to this vortex at this full moon. So we haven't talked about Uranus, and I got so excited about Uranus and its conjunct alignment to the constellation Perseus and the fixed star Capulus that I forgot to put it on the outer ring here of fixed stars. But Uranus is conjunct at 23 degrees to Capulus, the fixed star Capulus. And Capulus is a very interesting fixed star. Capulus is the handle of Perseus' sword. So Perseus with his sword is here to wonder and if we're living a life with purpose or not, because Perseus is here to cut away anything that has not to do with our life purpose here now. So Uranus is really here to cut away what is not serving us anymore and to keep what we need for the future direction. Uranus is opposite fixed star Beta Centauri. If you recall, that's the fixed star of utopian unconditional love. And Uranus and Beta Centauri are squaring Black Moon Lilith here, and the alignment that Black Moon Lilith has to Hydra. So this triad, the way I translate that is, with love, we have to deeply look into ourselves and what we're passionate about. The alignment of Black Moon Lilith to Hydra is really now pulling out our inner passion, our Kundalini. And Uranus coming in, and Perseus, the alignment to Perseus here with a sword in his hand, cutting away anything that's not serving us anymore. And I love the symbolism of this, how it's coming together in a T-square like this, a growth opportunity that we cannot miss at this time. I also translate this T-square as a call for, if there's something in our life that we are not honestly manifesting with love and from the heart, and and maybe it is that we are trying to live up to something that we haven't chosen by ourselves. It's time now to let that go and to sink into what is truly ourselves, our true self, and only live from that space. So this T-square is addressing the fact that if we're bypassing our heart, for example, in any matter in our life, it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed with love, and the rest just needs to go. And the reason I feel that if we are doing a spiritual bypass, for example, it is supported to let it go because of Black Moon Lilith's trine to the galactic center at this time. I didn't draw that link here, but it is a supportive energy because our galaxy, our Milky Way galaxy, is supporting us to release anything that's not our own truth. And also releasing anything that is not embodied from the heart. So there we have it. This is an awakening vortex. So when it all comes together, here is how it looks like. Can you imagine this spinning around? Just that, like that image that I showed you. We are increasingly connecting with universal wisdom. And this full moon is taking us for a spin, involving all the galactic points at this time. It's all coming together, body, mind, and spirit. If you're curious about your own galactic alignments, download the Galactic Alignments reference guide below this video. I want to show you this vortex again. Just feel that massive energy that this full moon is putting into motion for us. So here are 3 questions you can work with, supportive of the energies that are going on at this full moon. The first question is regarding our body theme and how we are establishing this spirit and earth integration. So my question is, how can you establish a stronger connection with your spirit guides, as Pleiades now helping to guide our Milky Way through an evolution? You also have your own spirit guides that you can connect with. So how do you do that? Can you involve your body in that? How can you notice signs from your guides? Maybe it's a body sensation, maybe it's a sign in the environment. So how can you strengthen that in your daily life? The second question is the mind theme and the mental domain. Now, how can you create more of a structure in your spiritual practice so that your mind can relax? For example, if you have a mindful spiritual practice that includes allowing your mind to focus on gratitude, for example, any self-doubt will not have room within that spiritual practice. Also be aware of how you're using your throat chakra. Mercury's involvement in this trine revolving in the second decan is hugely important here. How are you activating your throat by speaking up, including chanting, for example, in your spiritual practice? All of this is to help your mind relax, come down to your heart. The third question is related to the spirit theme and the third decan and the trine there of the North Node, South Node, Hydra, Perseus also involved here. The question is, are you living with inner transparency? And what I mean with that is there any resistance between your inner world and your outer world? And if there is, notice if there's anything that needs to be scaled away by Perseus' sword here to allow that to be released so that you can feel the flow and harmony inside and out. Many times when we feel resistance, it's because we're trying to fulfill someone else's expectation, or we are trying to be something or get something that is actually not aligned with our natural energy. So this trine in the spirit, the third decan of energy, involved a north node, the south node, the north node conjunct Eris, and also that black moon Lilith aligned with Hydra. It's all about connecting with that inner passion, that unapologetic energy within yourself, and bring that into the next steps, into the next direction. The North Node is bringing us there. Thank you for being here. I look forward to doing the next video for you. Thank you for listening and watching to New Light Living Podcast. I'll be back soon with another video. See you then. Bye-bye.